Good morning, dear students. Welcome to your economics class. Well, students, in the last class, I discussed with you all some extra question and answers, and many of you did the questions quite nicely. So, I request the remaining students also to do the questions and submit it as early as possible. Okay. Well, students, as you all know, we have almost come to the end of this chapter. The last topic that we have discussed till now is the consequences of unemployment. So, the various consequences of unemployment are it increases the economic burden of the country, then it leads to poverty, then it leads to slow economic growth, then it leads to the wastage of human resources. Not only human resources, it also leads to the wastage of the other resources, that is the natural resources, and finally it leads to an increase in criminal activities in the country. Okay, so students, today we are going to discuss about the nature of unemployment in India, that is the scenario or the structure of unemployment which is prevailing in India. So your learning outcome for today's class will be you will develop an understanding about the nature of unemployment in India. Well, students, in India, the rate of unemployment is not very high. Actually, it is low. So, statistically, the rate of unemployment in India is low. Now, you must be thinking this is a good thing, right? But, students, this is actually not a good thing. Let me tell you why. There is a reason behind this. In India, there are a large number of people who are involved in jobs which offer petty income, very less income, which require very less productivity. So in India, there is a large majority of people who are involved in such kind of jobs and they are counted as employed. So that is the reason the rate of unemployment in India is low. But actually, if you see, there is a vast majority of people who are engaged in jobs which provide them a very little income. Okay, and these kind of jobs that they are pursuing, it is not out of their own choice. They are doing this because they have no other option. There are people coming from poor background. Such kind of people are mainly engaged in this kind of jobs. So the people either coming from a poor background or from a rural area or a person who is illiterate are generally found to engage themselves in this kind of work, irrespective of its earning potential, because they cannot afford to sit idle. So whatever job they get, they are very quick to accept it without considering its earning potential. Okay, and that is why, since they accept any kind of job without considering the pay or the salary or the income that it provides, these people are always found to live in a situation of poverty. Their income level never increases. They are always found to live on a bare subsistence level. So this is the reason the rate of unemployment in India is low. Even though it is low, there are people who are working in jobs that require very less productivity and income. Such people are also considered or counted as employed. That is why the rate of unemployment in India is low. Understood? Also, students, the employment structure in India, it is characterized by self-employment in the primary sector. So in the last class, the extra questions that I gave you all, there was one question related to this topic that explained why the employment structure is characterized by self-employment in the primary sector. So students, this thing will help you all in doing the question for those who have not done it till now. Okay. So students, we all know that in the primary sector, agriculture is the most important economic activity, and agriculture is a self-employment activity. That means people generates employment for themselves. So students, what happens in agriculture? The whole family contributes to work in the field, even though that is not really required. As I have already told you, if the work of 5 members is required, you will see in the rural areas 10 people are working in the same field, and all those 10 people belong to the same family. Okay, so this is the case of disguised unemployment. Okay, so when the work is shared among the family members, when all the family members are found to work in the same field, this mostly happens in agriculture. This is a case of disguised unemployment. So students, this sharing of work in the field and the produce raised among the family members, it leads to low earnings, thereby resulting in poverty. So students, the problem is that they not only share the work in the field, but they also share the produce or the output or the income which is generated from the field. So since that little income is distributed among so many family members, the income, it gets reduced even more. Understood? So the share of every family member is very little. Okay, so what happens? Gradually those surplus members, sometimes they are found to migrate or move to the cities from the villages in search of better job prospects. Okay, so this is the reason why the employment structure in India, it is characterized by self-employment in the primary sector, so which mostly happens because of this guy's unemployment which takes place in the agricultural sector. All right, now students, the nature of unemployment in India in all the three sectors. So to remind you all, let me tell you that there are three types of economic activities: primary, secondary and tertiary sector activities. The primary sector basically deals with the production of natural products or the extraction of natural resources. Then secondary sector deals with the production of finished products by using the raw materials of the primary sector. For example, manufacturing, construction. Then examples of primary sector are agriculture, mining, etc. And then students, then comes the tertiary sector, which basically deals with the provision of goods and services, banking, transport, communication, etc. So students, in India is basically a rural economy. So agriculture is the most important or the prominent labor most prominent and the labor absorbing sector in the economy. Okay, so as I have already told you, around 75% of the people are found to be engaged in agriculture, and this is leading to the problem of this guy's unemployment. So some of its surplus labor, some of its extra people, they are seen moving to the secondary sector or to the tertiary sector. So when they come and join the secondary sector and tertiary sector, in secondary sector, most of them are employed in the small scale manufacturing units. So students, when it comes to secondary sector, small scale manufacturing is the most labor absorbing activity. Okay, and in the tertiary sector, it is information technology, the IT sector or biotechnology, which are now slowly and gradually developing. Okay, so if we compare the scenario of employment in all the three sectors, we can conclude that in primary sector, it is agriculture which is the most labor absorbing economic activity. In secondary sector, it is small scale manufacturing which is the most labor absorbing economic activity. And in the tertiary sector, IT and biotechnology are the most labor absorbing economic activities. All right, so students, today we discussed about why the rate of unemployment in India is low, the reason behind this. We also discussed about the structure of employment in India, which is characterized by self-employment in the primary sector. And then we discussed about the scenario of employment in India in all the three sectors, a comparison. Okay, so students, these are your homework questions. So the rate of unemployment in India is low. Comment on the statement. So you need to do this question. You can either take the help of the first slide or you can take the help of the textbook. All right, please make sure that you write 5 points since the question carries 5 marks. And then the second question, which is the most labor absorbing activity in the primary, secondary and tertiary sector. So in the primary sector, it is agriculture. In the secondary sector, it will be small scale manufacturing, and in the tertiary sector, it will be information technology and biotechnology. Okay, so students, kindly do these questions and submit today between 8 to 9 p.m. Okay, and if in case any doubt arises, do ask me. Okay then students, thank you so much.